The arts have always been a form of expression for those who challenge imposed norms. Through them, experiences and stories that explore identity, desire, and diversity have been revealed. Poets, writers, filmmakers, and other artists have expressed their distinct way of seeing the world through their works. It's not just about making art about being, but doing so from a place not entirely accepted by society. The literary expression of feelings about people of the same gender can be traced back to the dawn of national literature in the Parnaso Oriental, a work that brought together the best poetry of the 19th century. Petrona Rosent, the only woman among the authors in the collection, found in her literature a way to express desires and emotions that had no place or language of their own in society. Already in the 20th century, the anarchist poet Angel Falco would begin a romantic relationship with André Gide de Batty, a French intellectual living in Uruguay. Years later, some people recalled a night, round 1914, when the two of them emerged from the Solis Theatre holding hands, before the attentive and judicious gaze of those present. The military dictatorship forced many Uruguayan artists into exile, for example the poets Cristina Peri Rossi and Alfredo Fresia. Melancholy permeated their verses, which were and are more than a mere expression of their sexual and emotional orientations, although critics have tried to reduce them to that. Cristina Peri Rossi, born in 1941 and exiled in Europe, published the poetry collection Evohi, a lesbian erotic work, in 1971, which earned it a ban during the civil-military dictatorship. Her later work explored the tragedy of exile and lesbian sexual desire. In 2021, she became the second Uruguayan woman to win the Cervantes Prize. The work of poet Alfredo Fresia, born in 1948 and deceased in 2022, also experienced a similar path. The dictatorship also left a deep mark of exile and persecution. His poetry interweaves memory and a love of literature. According to Fresia himself, homosexual desire occupied a minor part of his output, in which a nostalgic Montevideo emerges, prompting him to reflect on history, bodies, and literature. Among those who remained in the country, the tragic story of Inés González Zúñiga stands out. She published a single collection of poems, entitled To My People, with a distinctly lesbian theme. Shortly after, she jumped from the 11th floor of the Salvo Palace. Her work is almost unknown, to the point that it is practically impossible to find any of her poems on the internet. Documentary film has been a fundamental vehicle for giving voice to invisible stories. Aldo Guerre has dedicated a large part of his production to this topic. Highlights include Yo lo más tremendo, which from the title in Spanish reveals its transvestite trans theme, The Gloria of Hercules, about the life of Gloria Meneses, and The Wedding, a documentary that follows the life of a trans woman and her partner. Another key documentary on dissidents is The Hummingbird's Intentions, about Lises Basso, a visual artist who died at the age of 37 in 1996, whose work and memory were rescued by his partner. The film not only documents his art, but also shows the important role of those who save these stories and works from oblivion. The Call It H Festival has been fundamental in the dissemination of LGBTQ plus cinema in Montevideo. Since its creation in 2006, it has provided a space for visibility for films and narratives that would otherwise be excluded from the city's commercial and academic circuits. Their impact has been key in broadening the horizons of Uruguayan cinema and generating debates on the representation of sexual diversity. Furthermore, Call It H has served as a forum for cultural exchange, showcasing national and international productions, promoting debate on the multiple ways of experiencing gender identity and sexuality. These are just some of the dissident expressions that can be found in the history of literature and the visual arts, centered in the city of Montevideo. Through words and images, these artists have given rise to what has been silenced, rescuing it from oblivion and transforming it into an act of resistance.